All right, so today we're doing something a little different.
Yeah. Sure.
We're going to try and give you a strategic thinking toolkit.
Like the essential.
Yeah, just the most useful stuff we can find.
Yeah.
So we looked at 4 really influential books in the strategy world.
So you don't have to read all these dense books.
We'll
We'll give you the frameworks, the big ideas.
So we're looking at The Art of Strategy, Thinking in Bets,
Good strategy, bad strategy.
and Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah. So we're going to try and cover a lot of ground here.
Give you the core insights
Yep.
for thinking strategically.
So you can make better decisions and to,
Yeah.
navigate uncertainty
Yeah, craft some real
and
plans.
spot opportunities that other people aren't seeing.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
So let's jump right in with The Art of Strategy.
Okay.
This one's all about game theory.
Which sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah, it can. But
But-
it's really not that bad.
The authors Dixit and Nailbuff, they do a great job.
They're just breaking it down.
Yeah, showing how these ideas apply to everyday situations.
Like really practical stuff. Yeah.
Like how do you negotiate a raise?
Right.
How do you figure out
What the other person's going to do.
what their best move is?
Right, or how come companies make the decisions that they make.
Even in like really tense situations like political standoffs and things.
Exactly. And the book does a really good job of
Giving you these frameworks.
like visual frameworks to help you think through it.
Like imagining a table, where your choices intersect with the other party's choices.
And you can see the different outcomes.
Yeah, and that can help you sort of
Figure out.
what your dominant strategy is.
Right.
Or where the Nash equilibrium might lie.
And the Nash equilibrium is basically
Where everyone is doing the best they can given what everyone else is doing.
right, like
Right.
it's stable in a way.
Yeah,
Even if it's not.
like a great outcome.
Yeah.
Think about a team meeting
Okay.
where no one wants to speak up. Right. Everyone's just kind of keeping their head down.
Right.
Because, they don't want to rock the boat.
They don't want to cause conflict.
That could actually be a Nash equilibrium.
Interesting.
Everyone's individually better off just staying quiet.
Yeah.
But collectively, the team might be better off if they had a more open discussion.
Right. So if you can recognize those patterns.
And you can actually start to change things.
Yeah, you can actually, introduce a mechanism
Yeah.
to get people to speak up.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
So once you start thinking in these terms, you see it everywhere.
yeah, like the strategic moves
Yeah.
that people are making.
It's like you're suddenly aware of this whole other layer of reality.
It's true.
So,
It's kind of cool.
yeah.
So now we've got Annie Dukes Thinking in Bets.
Okay.
And she comes from the world of poker.
So she has a very interesting perspective.
Yeah, she thinks about decisions as bets.
But bets
Yeah.
made with incomplete information.
Which,
Like pretty much every decision.
yeah, it's true.
Like we rarely have all the facts.
yeah, so she's really emphasizes,
The power of probabilistic thinking. Not thinking in terms of certainties.
yeah, like black and white, right or wrong.
Right.
But instead thinking in terms of,
Like what are the chances?
yeah, like what are the odds of this happening?
I know,
What are the
yeah.
odds of that happening?
And how do I make the best decision?
Given those odds.
Right.
And a really important point she makes is that
Even if you
there's a bad outcome.
you didn't necessarily make a bad decision.
Right, because there's always luck involved.
Right.
And one of the things that trips us up is hindsight bias.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling you get after something happens where you think,
Oh, yeah. I knew that was going to happen.
yeah, like it was obvious.
But it wasn't really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can make it really hard to learn from experience
True.
because we start to think we knew more than we did.
Yeah.
So Duke encourages us to really separate luck from skill.
Which is important. Yeah. If you want to get better at making decisions.
For sure.
And honestly, can be really freeing
Yeah.
to just accept that uncertainty is part of the game.
Yeah.
You're never going to have all the answers,
Right.
but you can still make good decisions
Exactly.
with the information you do have.
Okay, so next up we have Richard Rumelt's Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. And he's kind
Like
of,
the tough love.
yeah,
He's like a strategy coach.
no nonsense, right?
Yeah, he's like cutting through all the BS.
Like, what is strategy really?
And why is so much of what people call strategy?
Not actually strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
So he has this core framework,
For what good strategy actually looks like.
and it's actually pretty simple.
Yeah, like 3 main parts.
So you have the diagnosis,
That's where you figure out what the central challenge is.
like what's the real problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Then you have the guiding policy,
So that's your overall approach to tackling that challenge.
like what are the principles we're going to use.
yeah.
And then finally,
You have the coherent actions
so that's the specific steps you're going to take.
to put that policy into practice.
And those actions have to...
Directly support the policy.
Right. So it's not just like
a random collection of things you're doing.
Yeah, it all has to fit together.
Are
It's
they-
like a recipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can't just
Throw a bunch of ingredients together.
and hope for the best.
Yeah. You need to have a plan.
Yeah,
You need to understand what each ingredient is doing
exactly.
and how they all work together.
And Rumelt uses all these great examples.
Yeah, from military history
It's in business.
to show what good strategy looks like in action.
And what bad strategy looks like.
Yeah.
And what really stuck with me
From this book.
is the emphasis on intellectual honesty.
Yes.
Like you have to
Really be willing.
look at the problem,
And not just,
sugarcoat it.
not just come up with some vague aspiration
Right.
without a concrete plan.
Like wishful thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now let's shift gears a little bit.
So something a little more,
Optimistic.
blue ocean strategy.
By Kim and Mauborn.
And this one's all about,
Creating new market spaces
instead of competing.
in these crowded existing markets.
Right, so they call the new market spaces blue oceans.
Because they're uncontested.
Yeah, there's no competition.
It's wide open.
And the existing markets they call red oceans.
Because they're bloody.
Yeah, everyone's fighting over the same customers.
And it's just a race to the bottom.
So the key idea here,
Break
the traditional trade-off.
between value and cost.
Yeah, so instead of just trying to
For a
offer
little bit more value.
for a little bit lower cost,
You're actually trying to create something.
completely different.
Yeah, something that...
Doesn't even exist in the market yet
So you're not even competing.
with the existing players.
And they have all these really practical tools in the book,
Yeah, like the strategy canvas,
which helps you visualize.
the competitive landscape,
And then there's the 4 actions framework.
which helps you think about
What factors you can
reduce, eliminate,
and create.
to forge a new value proposition.
Yeah, it's a really
Interesting
way to think about things.
It's like it really opens up your mind to possibilities.
Yeah, so if we try and tie all this together,
Okay.
like what does it all mean for you?
Yeah.
It's not about just picking one of these approaches.
Right.
It's about having all these different lenses
That you can use
to see the world.
and to make better decisions,
So you've got game theory.
to help you anticipate how other people are going to react,
You've got probabilistic thinking.
to help you deal with uncertainty,
You've got Rumelt's framework.
for crafting a clear and coherent strategy,
And you've got the blue ocean mindset
for finding new opportunities.
that other people aren't even seeing.
These aren't just like abstract ideas.
right.
They're tools that you can actually use
To make a difference
in your life,
in your work.
in whatever you're doing,
Exactly.
as a final thought
Yeah, think about a situation.
that you're facing right now.
Yeah, any situation.
Big or small.
And how can you apply?
Does one of these principles,
Just see it in a new light?
maybe you could think a few steps ahead
Yeah.
about how other people might react
Or you could try...
to diagnose the real underlying issue
Yeah.
instead of just focusing on the symptom,
Or maybe you could even brainstorm some blue ocean ideas.
to create something totally new.
It's really about...
Just taking a step back.
and looking at things from a different perspective.
And these books can give you
The tools.
to do that,
So we encourage you
to explore these ideas further,
and see how they can help you
make better decisions.
and achieve your goals.
Until next time.
That's it for today.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.